All right, everybody, welcome to Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks. Dr. Kush, we are here today at the beginning of our year. I figured since we're starting the year off right now, as we speak, on a Tiki Tuesday, figured we would start back at the beginnings of Tiki as well. We are going to do what a lot of weirdo Tiki scholar perverts are calling the first ever cocktail created by the guy that created Tiki, Donn Beach. So if that is interesting to you at all, boy, do I have a place for you to hang out right here at Dr. Kush's Exotic Drinks. We're doing a drink today called the Sumatra Kula. You will be able to sort of see where Donn was going with some of this stuff with this one. It's kind of a good baseline to start to build other Tiki cocktails. He hasn't really delved too deep into rum mixing at this point, but his citrus mixing, hardly ever seen anything like it in this one. So our guy Donn, his name is Ernesto Raymond Beaumont Gant, and he was a trailblazer. Before all of this Tiki stuff, he traveled the world. He's apparently circumnavigated it 2 times. Left from his native either Texas or Louisiana. They don't really know. Some people think maybe Florida. Either way, he got onto a boat. He went around the earth a couple times, ended up in Los Angeles, and now he's got all these friends that have all this rum. He hits it right at a pretty interesting time called Prohibition, where we are prohibiting alcohol. That's what all prohibition was all about, just stopping this alcohol from getting places. Well, our friend Donnie, he just got off the boat, and he's got all this booze. What's he going to do with it? Well, he can't sell it like a normal person. Can't just open a bar like a regular old Joe. No, he's got to start bootlegging. Dude's got a bootleg. Term bootleg, does anybody know where it comes from? People used to have big, long boots, and in their boots, they would have a flask. Pull out that flask, hand it over to you, take a swig, put it back in. Kind of like they do those balloons at a Grateful Dead concert. That's what bootlegging is. Take a swig, give me a little money, we're calling it even. He got caught. Ooh, he got hit. Turns out, after that, you can't open up a bar. You get caught bootlegging, you don't get to sell booze when all this stuff comes back. Well, no big deal. Put the bar in his wife's name. So now his wife's got this whole bar. They call it Don the Beachcomber. He changed his name from Ernesto Raymond Beaumont Gant to what? Donn. Why not? Donn Beach. Pretty good name. Pretty darn good name, Donn Beach. At this point, though, who's drinking rum? Nobody. Scallywags, ne'er-do-wells, scofflaws, robbers, bad people, people that you don't really associate with the high class. You would never see a scofflaw at a high-class function. A gala with a scofflaw? You wouldn't see it. So he's got to find a way to make this rum, that he has all this rum, you got to find a way to get it out there. What does he do? He creates a whole new version of cocktails from what we've had, sort of. What he really does is he takes punches and makes them more interesting. He doesn't call it Tiki right off the bat. He calls it rum rhapsodies. These are not Tiki drinks. These are called rum rhapsodies. And I personally believe we should go back to that. Called rum rhapsody. That's a way better name anyway. Problem that is tough to make a whiskey rum rhapsody. Anyway, he starts tinkering. Dude's in there beep, 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 doing a little, all the cool bartenders, they put their mustaches up and they go, we're doing R&D today, baby. R&D means research and development. It really just means sitting around with your friends and saying, oh, what if we tried this? Put it in, drink, oh. And then it gets better and better because we get drunker and drunker. That's what R&D is. So he starts creating all this stuff, and he eventually starts coming up with some pretty great cocktails. A lot of people believe that the cocktail that we are making today was his very first. Anyway, he shows up with this cocktail and he says, you know what? You know who I think will drink this? And he thought about it for a second and he said, everyone will like this. Big, strong dudes. They'll come up to him, they'll sit with tears in their eyes and they'll say, sir, can I have one of those drinks? Everybody will want one of these. Anyway, we're going to start over here with one of these. Squeeze in 3/4 of an ounce of some orange juice. Next thing we want to do is get a little grapefruit action in our life. 3/4 of an ounce of some grapefruit juice. I don't know if anybody cares about this. I read a study that says if you eat grapefruit in the morning, grapefruit has great fat busting abilities. I don't know if you guys need fat busted anywhere in your life, but Apparently good fat busting. We need half an ounce of lime juice. I think that my Tito can produce 1 ounce of lime juice per lime, so we're gonna be putting in half of a lime. This right here is Kiss rum. We're using Kiss rum because we needed a lightly aged rum. This one is aged for 8 to 15 years. That's a little longer than a lightly aged rum. We need a little, you can use a little less age on that. 2 ounces of a lightly aged rum. Next thing we need to put in here is some honey. Everybody makes their honey syrup just a little bit differently. I make my simple syrup 1-to-1. I find that just the easiest way to do it. When it comes to honey, though, I do 2 parts honey, 1 part water. That's it. You don't want to add, and let me say this loud for the people in the back, you don't want to add boiling water to your honey. It's going to start to affect the flavor. That's not what you need. You need slightly warm water. I mean, tap warm water is going to be just fine. Do not put boiling water inside of your runny honey. Doesn't work. 2-to-1 runny honey. That's 2 parts honey, 1 part water. Put in 3/4 of an ounce. We're gonna be putting in a bunch of ice. We want this to be a very chilly drink, but we want it to be a very busted up crushed ice. So I just let my freezer do the crushing. If you don't trust your freezer, I get it. Listen, I don't trust my freezer. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know, why is there no light in a freezer, but there is a light in the refrigerator? What is the freezer hiding from us? I don't know. I don't know why the freezer needs to live in darkness, and I don't trust it. But I did get this crushed ice from my freezer. If you don't trust your crushed ice from your freezer, I recommend instead just getting a Lewis bag and pounding that until it's in a real state. But you want this really broken up. See how broken up that is? That's how broken up you want it. You want to fill that up until some of that ice is no longer getting into the liquid. So you want to go just above what that liquid is. See how there's like these little pieces? They live on top now. They don't live on the inside. They live on top. We are going to bring out the Drink Master. This is the Hamilton Beach Drink Master. If you've already given up on your resolution this year, I appreciate it. Just throw it into the blender. If you got some hopes and dreams that you want, just go ahead and throw it into the blender right now. If you got just a horrible things that are going on right now, throw it into the blender. We're just going to blend everything, and when it comes out, it'll be exactly what we want. That's what we need right now. So take everything you got, throw it into the blender, and go ahead and throw this into, this is a squall glass. Normally you'd put a little mint on here. We've seen what happened to Minty. Do that. So we're going to throw that right here. This is just a little orange. If you are a fan of tropical drinks, rum rhapsodies, if you are have ever been sitting near a beach and ordered a Mai Tai and it came out 4 different colors and you took 1 sip and your whole life changed and you decided, listen, I don't care about anything else except for getting back to this beach and having this exact same Mai Tai. If you've ever had that feeling, and listen, you wouldn't have found my show, I don't think, if you hadn't had that feeling. This drink is basically where that all started. So let's see how we did. Oh my God. It's so good. It's not too sweet. It's not too sour. It's not too rummy. It's not too anything. It has its own character. The honey, 2-to-1 at 3/4 of an ounce is perfect. I think that's the way to go. It's awesome. Honestly, no wonder this drink started the whole thing. It's perfect.